In a quiet Arizona neighborhood, a man built the perfect home and one flawless pool just for himself. But when the HOA president decided his backyard belonged to the entire community, she crossed a line. What followed wasn't just a trespassing scandal. It was poetic justice, caught on camera, in blazing green. This is the story of how one man turned invasion into transformation. When Mason Grant left Silicon Valley behind, he thought he'd close the door on chaos. He'd done his time, 15 years, building cybersecurity infrastructure, managing crises, watching systems fail, and rebuild under pressure. He retired early at 42, settled in Prescott Valley, Arizona, and started over in the only way that made sense: slowly, quietly, intentionally. He built his home from scratch. The centerpiece: a private, high-tech pool nestled into a sunken backyard with no rear neighbors. A passion project. It had programmable lighting, motion detection, eco-filtration, even a hidden dye dispersal system, a remnant of an old prank idea. It had never been used. He wanted silence. But Lana Whitmore, HOA president and self-declared queen of Pineview Estates, had other ideas. It started small. A note on his door reminding him about optional but encouraged HOA socials. Then came the email blasts, the unexpected lawn assessments, the sideways stares at community meetings. Mason ignored it. He didn't move here for bake-offs and folding chair potlucks. But ignoring Lana was the one thing she couldn't stand. Without permission, she snapped a photo of Mason's backyard from behind a utility shed, printed 100 glossy flyers, and announced the Pineview Neighborhood Splash Bash, claiming the pool as a shared amenity. The flyers went into mailboxes. One landed in Mason's. The image, a months-old photo of his private yard. He was stunned, then furious. He marched to Tina Whitmore's house, Lana's younger sister and loyal lieutenant. She said, "It's the community's pool now." Tina replied with a smug shrug. "You don't even use it." Mason didn't argue. He didn't raise his voice. He turned, walked home, and called his lawyer. "You could post signs, lock the gate," his lawyer said. "But if you want this done right, let them come, document everything." Mason was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "It's time to clean the dye tank." Saturday arrived like a slow-building thunderstorm. At 1:40 p.m., Mason's motion sensors lit up. Cars lined the street. Dozens of people, kids, parents, folding chairs, coolers marched down the path to his backyard. Someone was dragging a bounce house. Music pulsed through a Bluetooth speaker. Lana arrived last, wearing a beach caftan, her HOA badge around her neck like it granted divine right. She raised a whistle and blew sharply as children dove into the water. Mason stood on his upstairs balcony with a mug of iced coffee and a remote control in his palm. At 2:07 p.m., he pressed the button. There was a moment of silence. Then the pool exploded into radioactive green. Not murky, not muddy, glowing. A cinematic, day-glow emerald that instantly turned every splash and every swimmer into a scene from a mutant swamp. Gasps, screams, then chaos. Kids scrambled. Adults slipped on the slick decking. Someone dropped a bowl of guacamole into the grass. A beach ball flew into a grill. Lana spun, waterlogged and stunned, as a voice boomed from the speakers above. "This is private property. You are trespassing. This incident is being recorded. Law enforcement has been notified." Within 8 minutes, the sheriff arrived. He took one look at the scene, the flyers. The footage Mason handed over. The signed affidavit from the former homeowner affirming the pool was never public, and started taking statements. No arrests. But enough citations to make HOA history. Lana stammered something about promoting unity. The sheriff raised an eyebrow. By trespassing and turning a man's home into a public event, She didn't respond. But Lana wasn't finished. At the emergency HOA meeting the next week, she tried to spin the incident as a misunderstood attempt at community engagement. She accused Mason of chemical retaliation, claimed the dye was toxic, and endangered children. Mason stood up slowly and said, "I have a signed certification from the manufacturer stating the dye is food grade, biodegradable, and commonly used in environmental testing. It's green, that's all." He placed a printed copy on the table. Then he handed over the camera footage, 3 angles of Lana unlocking the emergency back gate with a copied key and ushering in the crowd. He had emails from neighbors showing they were invited under false pretenses. Even a screenshot of a group text where Lana called it a civil takeover of that recluse's pool. The room turned. Then came the flood. One neighbor stood and said, "She fined me $50 for leaving my garage door open for 10 minutes. Another added, "She told my daughter she couldn't sell lemonade without a business license." Then Cheryl stood, soft-spoken, always neutral until now. "She fined my husband for planting roses 2 inches outside the approved perimeter. Enough is enough." By the end of the meeting, a vote was called. Lana was removed as HOA president. Unanimous. Then Cheryl turned to Mason. "We need someone level-headed, someone who understands boundaries." Before he could protest, someone else said, "We're not asking for a politician. We're asking for a neighbor who knows how to say no." Mason paused, then nodded. "Temporary. And only if I can fix the rules first, over the next 6 weeks." Mason rewrote the bylaws from the ground up. He abolished arbitrary fines, froze dues, mandated digital transparency for all HOA decisions. He eliminated the clause that allowed photo surveillance without permission and added protections for homeowner privacy. He wasn't interested in power. He was interested in clarity. In fairness, people noticed. The neighborhood softened. Kids laughed again. Lawns grew freely. Music played without whispers of violation. Lana faded into the background. One viral video, her slipping into the green pool, mouth wide open in shock, trended on local Reddit for weeks under the title, "Queen of the Chlorine Coup." She stopped appearing at meetings. Rumors swirled she planned to sell. Mason spotted her once, standing just outside his property line, gray hoodie, arms crossed. She said nothing, then turned and disappeared into the dusk. 3 weeks later, Mason hosted a real pool party, by invitation. People brought casserole trays, drinks, folding chairs. Kids ran barefoot. A neighbor played acoustic guitar. Mason added blue UV-safe dye to the water soft, glowing, peaceful. Someone leaned in beside him and said, "You didn't just protect your home, you helped fix this entire place." Mason smiled, quietly. This had never been about revenge. It was about a line drawn in water, but deeper than concrete.